Milwaukee Bucks versus Toronto Raptors. The Eastern Conference tips off with an early test of mettle as the Milwaukee Bucks visit the Toronto Raptors at Scotiabank Arena. Both teams opened their 2025-26 campaigns with wins, setting the stage for a high-tempo clash between two squads eyeing relevance in the postseason picture. Milwaukee, 1-0 and sitting sixth in the East, remains powered by MVP-caliber leadership and championship experience, while Toronto, also 1-0 and ranked fourth, rides the momentum of a retooled roster that has blended youth, athleticism, and surprising scoring depth. The early season stakes are modest but meaningful. Both teams are eager to assert dominance in a conference defined by parity and star power. Milwaukee enters fresh off a 133-120 win over Washington, showcasing a rejuvenated offensive rhythm that produced 133 points per game in their opener, tied to an efficient 51% shooting clip and solid ball movement. The Bucks' identity remains anchored by Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, despite being listed as game-time decision, GTD, continues to be the franchise's offensive engine. When he's healthy, Giannis dictates tempo on both ends, averaging near triple-double efficiency in recent seasons. Chris Middleton and Damian Lillard headline Milwaukee's perimeter threats, capable of taking over when Giannis draws double coverage. However, the Bucks' defensive lapses in transition, especially when Giannis sits, remain a concern against fast-paced teams like Toronto. The Raptors, meanwhile, are coming off a statement win over the Atlanta Hawks, 138-118, in which their balanced attack and defensive versatility were on full display. Averaging 138 points per game and leading the league early in scoring, Toronto is thriving under an up-tempo system that prioritizes spacing and downhill aggression. The emergence of young guards like Jacoby Walter, GTD, but expected to play, and Colin Murray-Boyles, also GTD, adds layers of unpredictability to a rotation already featuring Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes, both of whom provide length, playmaking, and rebounding at elite levels. Toronto's 56.8% field goal rate and 10 steals per game in their opener underline their high-energy, turnover-driven style that could exploit Milwaukee's slower half-court sets. Both teams' form in the past 5 contests, stretching back to preseason, shows they're trending upward. Milwaukee went 4-1, notching wins over the Bulls, Pistons, and Wizards while falling narrowly to Oklahoma City. The Bucks' offensive production has been consistent, but defensive execution fluctuated late in games. Toronto also went 4-1 in their last 5, highlighted by victories over Brooklyn, Washington, and Boston. Their lone stumble came in a preseason loss to the Celtics, but they rebounded quickly, showing improved shooting accuracy and bench scoring depth. The standings amplify the stakes. Milwaukee sits tied atop the Central Division with Chicago at 1-0, while Toronto leads the Atlantic Division alongside New York. For the Raptors, a win would reinforce their legitimacy as more than an early season outlier. For the Bucks, it's a chance to keep pace in an increasingly competitive East where every divisional win could shape playoff seeding. Injuries loom as a subplot. Milwaukee's Kevin Porter Jr. remains out until at least October 28th, thinning their backcourt depth and forcing heavier workloads for Lillard and Malik Beasley. Giannis's GTD status is pivotal. If he plays near full strength, Milwaukee's interior advantage could overwhelm Toronto's smaller frontcourt. The Raptors' key question is whether Walter and Murray-Boyles, both GTD, can contribute effectively. Their availability could determine Toronto's ability to pressure Milwaukee's guards and maintain tempo in transition. The X factors tilt toward versatility and endurance. For Milwaukee, Lillard's shot selection and pace control will be critical. If he can create high-efficiency possessions and limit turnovers, the Bucks can dictate rhythm. For Toronto, Scotty Barnes' defensive assignments and secondary playmaking could tilt the game. His ability to switch onto both guards and forwards gives the Raptors flexibility in crunch time. Bench production may also prove decisive. Toronto's energetic second unit has been outperforming expectations, while Milwaukee's rotations still seek balance without Porter. Prediction: expect a tight, high-scoring matchup between two playoff-level teams. Analytics slightly favor Toronto, 57%, thanks to home court edge and offensive rhythm. If Giannis plays and controls the paint, Milwaukee has a late-game chance. Still, Toronto's defense and outside shooting should prevail. Projected final: Raptors 122, Bucks 116. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Toronto Raptors winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Boston Celtics versus New York Knicks. The stage is set for one of the Eastern Conference's most anticipated early season matchups as the Boston Celtics visit the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. The Celtics enter at 0-1, still finding their rhythm after a narrow opening loss, while the Knicks stand at 1-0 following a confident home victory. Both franchises, steeped in history and fueled by championship ambitions, meet at a familiar crossroads. Boston seeking redemption and New York looking to validate its off-season retooling. The stakes, though early, carry meaning for divisional hierarchy and tone setting in the Atlantic race. Boston, 8th in the East, faces a Knicks squad that currently sits 7th, but carries momentum and confidence from a balanced performance in its season opener. Boston's identity remains tied to its perimeter firepower and two-way balance, though early injuries threaten to test its depth. Jason Tatum, sidelined until April, leaves a glaring scoring void, while center Luka Garza's absence until later this week forces the Celtics to lean on their smaller, faster lineup combinations. For New York, the health report looks more encouraging despite several game-time decisions. Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns are all listed as probable, and Mitchell Robinson is the lone confirmed absence. Should Towns and Anunoby both play, the Knicks' front-court advantage could tilt the contest in their favor, especially against a depleted Boston interior rotation. Boston averaged 118 points in its opener, but shot only 45.1% from the field and surrendered 119 points defensively. The offense flowed through Derek White and Jaylen Brown, both of whom combined for strong scoring stretches. But the absence of Tatum's gravity made the Celtics easier to guard in isolation sets. Al Horford's veteran leadership anchors their defense, yet rim protection will be a critical concern against a Knicks team that thrives on second-chance points and interior touches. New York's 119-point output in its win over Cleveland came with 48% shooting and 22 assists, illustrating the unselfish ball movement head coach Tom Thibodeau emphasized throughout training camp. Jalen Brunson's control of the tempo and R.J. Barrett's confident shot selection gave the Knicks a balanced offensive rhythm that could again prove decisive against Boston's inconsistent transition defense. Both teams' recent form hints at divergent early-season trajectories. The Celtics dropped their last contest 117-116 to Philadelphia, continuing a stretch of up-and-down preseason performances that featured alternating wins and losses. They have struggled to close out tight games, losing 3 of their last 5 by single digits. Conversely, New York has won 4 of its last 5, including back-to-back home victories in which it limited opponents to under 106 points. The Knicks' defensive intensity and rebounding edge, anchored by Towns and Hart, give them the statistical edge, especially with a 43% opponent field goal percentage over that stretch. In the Atlantic Division, every game carries weight. Toronto, New York, and Philadelphia all sit at 1-0, while Boston and Brooklyn are still chasing their first wins. For Boston, a loss would mean early ground to make up in what projects to be a tightly contested division. For New York, a victory would not only cement early momentum, but also send a statement about its legitimacy as a top 4 seed contender. Depth and health could shape the outcome more than star power. Boston's thin rotation without Tatum pushes players like Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard into expanded scoring roles. Their ability to stretch the floor will be vital if Boston hopes to keep pace. The Knicks showcase impressive balance. Towns' inside-out scoring, Anunoby's defense, and Brunson's control make them tough to guard. If Boston limits second-chance points, their perimeter shooting can counter New York's size edge. The outcome hinges on execution and composure. Boston needs Jaylen Brown's shot-making and Porzingis's spacing to cover defensive gaps. New York's edge comes from discipline and bench impact, especially quickly spark. The Knicks will target interior mismatches, pushing Boston into perimeter-heavy offense. Prediction: analytics lean heavily toward New York, giving the Knicks roughly a 2/3 chance to secure the win. The Garden crowd, combined with Boston's injury absences, suggests a physical, defense-first battle that tilts in favor of the home team. Expect Brunson to dictate the pace and Towns to exploit his matchup advantage, while Brown's offensive heroics keep Boston competitive. Final call: Knicks 118, Celtics 111, as New York continues its strong start and Boston leaves Manhattan still searching for its first win of the season. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is New York Knicks winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. San Antonio Spurs versus New Orleans Pelicans. The San Antonio Spurs and New Orleans Pelicans meet in an early-season Southwest Division showdown at Smoothie King Center, with both teams looking to define their trajectory in the young 2025-26 campaign. The Spurs come in riding the momentum of a strong 125-92 win over the Dallas Mavericks, moving to 1-0 and tied atop the division with Memphis. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are still searching for their first victory after falling 122-128 to the Grizzlies, a game that exposed defensive lapses and rebounding issues. Friday's matchup pits a San Antonio team that looks sharper and deeper against a New Orleans squad already managing key injuries but hungry to bounce back on home court. San Antonio's offense was electric in its season opener, scoring 125 points while shooting an impressive 57.5% from the field. Their efficiency was powered by balanced ball movement, 24 assists on 45 made shots, and steady perimeter execution. The Spurs' mix of youth and experience has been their hallmark, though missing key contributors like De'Aaron Fox and Jeremy Sochan until early November. San Antonio's system-oriented play has allowed them to stay fluid offensively. New Orleans, by contrast, shot just 45.9% in its loss to Memphis, but still posted 122 points, showing that scoring isn't their issue. Defense and rim protection are. The Pelicans' 40 rebounds and 4 blocks fell short of what's needed against high-paced teams like the Spurs. While the NBA doesn't feature traditional pitching matchups, this contest presents a similar dynamic in its backcourt battle. San Antonio's guard rotation, led by disciplined playmaking and perimeter shooting, will look to exploit the Pelicans' thin guard depth, with DeJounte Murray still sidelined until January. The Spurs' ability to control tempo through efficient half-court sets mirrors a veteran pitcher working the corners, steady, deliberate, and punishing mistakes. On the other side, the Pelicans rely heavily on their wing creation to generate offense. With players like Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum expected to shoulder heavy scoring loads, New Orleans will depend on their ability to penetrate the Spurs' switching defense, much like a young hurler relying on power over finesse. Offensively, San Antonio enters the game as one of the more balanced teams early in the season. Their 125-point output featured multiple double-digit scorers, and their interior efficiency remains high despite the absence of Fox. Kelly Olynyk, if cleared to play, provides crucial spacing with his stretch 5 shooting, while Lindy Waters' threes availability could further open the floor. For the Pelicans, offensive leadership flows through their wing stars. Ingram's mid-range proficiency and McCollum's perimeter versatility make them capable of carrying stretches, but New Orleans needs consistent help from its bench, particularly from rookies and role players like Carlo Matkovic and Yves Missi, both listed as game-time decisions. Recent form favors San Antonio. They've won 4 of their last 5 dating back to preseason, highlighted by a hard-fought overtime win over Utah and a clutch 112-107 victory against Miami. Their young core has shown improved late-game execution. The Pelicans have struggled recently, going 1-4 with losses to Memphis, Orlando, and Houston, highlighting defensive lapses. Even at home, they've lacked the consistency expected of a playoff contender, though their 127-98 win over Utah showed the ceiling they can reach when shots fall. In the Southwest Division, this game carries early significance. San Antonio, 1-0 and tied with Memphis, can seize control with a win. New Orleans, 0-1, risks falling behind in a tough group. Protecting home court is crucial for the Pelicans, especially with key bigs like Looney sidelined until November 8th. Injuries slightly favor San Antonio. Missing Fox and Sochan won't disrupt their rotation long-term. New Orleans faces deeper challenges. With Murray out until January and Looney sidelined, front court depth is limited, making it harder to defend the rim and rebound against San Antonio's pick-and-roll efficiency. Key X factors are tempo, shooting, and rebounding. San Antonio must sustain ball movement and exploit spacing for open shots. New Orleans relies on Ingram's efficiency and rebounding without Looney. Trey Jones's playmaking and Olynyk's shooting can pressure the Pelicans, while McCollum's scoring could keep them competitive in a high-paced game. Prediction: San Antonio's spacing, ball movement, and cohesion give them the edge. With a 60% win probability, the Spurs' balance and poise should prevail. If New Orleans role players can't offset front court absences, San Antonio will control the pace. Projected final: Spurs 121, Pelicans 113. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is San Antonio Spurs winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Golden State Warriors versus Portland Trail Blazers. The Golden State Warriors travel north to Portland for an early-season Pacific Northwest showdown against the Trail Blazers, a matchup that pits a proven contender against a team seeking identity amid transition. Golden State enters at 1-0 after a hard-fought win over the Lakers, sitting atop the Pacific Division standings. Portland, meanwhile, opens its home slate 0-1, struggling to find consistency in its backcourt following off-season changes. The Warriors, powered by their veteran core and crisp ball movement, aim to build early momentum, while the Blazers hope to shake off a narrow opening loss and avoid falling deeper in a competitive Northwest Division already dominated by Utah and Minnesota. The statistical preview leans heavily toward the visitors. Golden State boasts a 59.6% win probability compared to Portland's 40.4%. The Warriors' balanced scoring and defensive discipline give them a clear edge, though Moda Center's intensity could provide a lift for the young Blazers roster. Both teams are battling injuries, setting up an intriguing test of depth and adaptability. While basketball lacks pitching duels, this game's equivalent comes in the backcourt. Golden State's offensive orchestrators versus Portland's emerging guards. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson continue to define pace and perimeter dominance, combining veteran poise with unrelenting shooting efficiency. Curry's ability to draw multiple defenders opens lanes for Jonathan Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins to attack. On the other side, Scoot Henderson's absence removes Portland's primary initiator, forcing Malcolm Brogdon and Anfernee Simons to shoulder playmaking duties. Brogdon, a steady veteran, must manage tempo and limit turnovers, while Simons' scoring bursts could be Portland's best weapon against Golden State's switching defense. Offensively, Golden State averages 119.0 points per game on a strong 48.7% shooting clip, ranking among early league leaders. Their ball distribution, 29.0 assists per night, illustrates a system thriving on rhythm and unselfishness. Portland counters with 114.0 points per game but struggles from the field at 40.0%, a reflection of their evolving offensive chemistry. DeAndre Ayton anchors their inside presence, but without Damian Lillard and Scoot Henderson, shot creation remains inconsistent. Jerami Grant's mid-range efficiency and rookie Toumani Camara's defensive energy could be pivotal in offsetting Golden State's spacing advantage. Recent form tilts the scales. The Warriors are 3-2 in their last 5 games, highlighted by a 119-109 win over the Lakers and an offensive explosion in a 129-123 preseason victory against these same Blazers. Their only recent losses came in tightly contested battles versus Sacramento and Portland, both shootouts decided by single possessions. Portland, conversely, has dropped 3 of its last 5, including a 132-129 heartbreaker to Utah and a 124-123 setback against Sacramento, revealing defensive lapses in closing moments. Injuries could reshape the contest. Golden State will be without Alex Tuhey and Moses Moody, both expected back October 24th, and DeAnthony Melton until the end of the month, limiting backcourt flexibility. Portland faces deeper issues. Robert Williams III is questionable, Henderson remains sidelined until mid-November, and Lillard's off-season departure leaves a scoring void. The Warriors' bench, featuring Brandon Podziemski and Kevon Looney, offers stability, whereas Portland's rotations may rely heavily on untested youth. From a standings perspective, Golden State sits first in the Pacific Division alongside Phoenix, both 1-0, while Portland lingers at the bottom of the Northwest, already 1 game back. Though it's early, every divisional matchup carries weight, and the Warriors seek to establish an early cushion before facing conference heavyweights. Portland's focus, however, is developmental, building chemistry and defensive accountability while evaluating its young core's long-term viability. Key X factors are pace and rebounding. Golden State excels pushing tempo and spacing the floor, while Portland can counter by crashing the glass and forcing turnovers. Ayton versus Looney and Green will impact second-chance control, while Kuminga's athleticism and Wiggins' defense challenge Simons and Grant. Early shooting rhythm for the Warriors could tilt the game, but a slower pace keeps it close. Prediction: Golden State, sharper and healthier, holds a 59.6% projected win probability. Expect a close first half before the Warriors' spacing and experience prevail late. Final score: Warriors 122, Trailblazers 113, as veteran execution overcomes Portland's youth. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Golden State Warriors winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.